we'll call the meeting to order. The Suffolk County IDA Governance and Compliance Committee. It is October 27th, 2022. Before the committee is an amendment to allow public bodies to have remote attendance. Tony, do you want to explain to the committee what the purpose of this amendment is, where we obtain the information for the amendment, and then we can have committee members ask any questions that they have.
Yes, thank you, Greg. So back in June, I believe it was part of the 22-23 New York State budget, the state amended the open meetings law to allow remote video conferencing in certain limited capacity. So each public body has to determine what circumstances upon which a board member could not be in person and needs to attend remotely. And so Nixon Peabody, thank you to Bill and his staff, developed a memo and template documents that some of the other IDAs and we intend to use. So you still need to have, so it's video conferencing only. It's not, there's also, with open meetings law right now, you can telephonically call in, but it's very complex and almost impractical, because if someone was needed to do remote and call in, we would have to notice that person's location where they are. So if they're in their house, we would have to notice the address of the board member's house, and then that board member would have to have it open to the public if someone wanted to attend the hearing.
And it also has to be ADA compliant, accessible, so it's almost impossible.
Wow.
I mean, we did it once where for another board member, one of the board members was on business in Berlin, and we noticed the Hilton Hotel in Berlin and a particular conference room that he reserved.
So you have to have
Nobody else showed up.
exact address you have to put on there. Like if I'm home, I have to put my personal address.
That's just for telephonic, which is currently on within the law now. So what the amendment is for video conferencing. So
And without the notification requirement.
well, yes, right?
So what you have to have now, under the law, under the revised law, you still have to have a quorum here present. If you are, one of the other board members cannot attend in person and it meets one of the criteria that you will set, then with the chair's permission, that person can join the meeting remotely by video. The board member who's not here has to be able to see and hear everybody who's here and talking, and everybody here, including any members of the public, have to be able to see that board and hear that board member. So logistically, cameras, just make them tricky, but other than that, I mean, it's kind of up to you to just determine within the parameters of the statute the reasons for somebody not being here. So like somebody's sick, you're a caregiver, you're out of the country, whatever.
So
Given there's 7 board members, at least 4 would still need to be in person.
4 would have to be in person, yes.
And then 3 would be able to.
And 3 could join remotely.
Okay.
And video, you don't have to have your house open. That's the difference for that.
This is everybody, there's still a full quorum here, as long as everybody here can see you if you're at home or wherever. So it will be helpful for people who have, say, you're ill or something for that day, you can join the meeting by video, but you can't come. You're caring for a sick parent or a child or something along those lines. Very helpful.
So we discussed this at the last board meeting, and it was recommended that the governance committee should take a look at it and then review it, and then if in agreement, then recommend it to the full board. So we need to hold a public hearing, written procedures need to be developed, and then a resolution adopted after the public hearing. So, we presented this last meeting there's a form of public notice, and then we post there's an exhibit here, form of written procedures, which will be posted on our website, and it would be referenced in the public hearing notice to look at our website for the form of the written procedures. And then after the public hearing, it would come back to the board for the full vote, or if we have another governance committee meeting next board meeting prior to, we could do it that way, and then have them recommend it to the full board. So we talked about maybe we can do the hearing in advance of all this, but then we realized we wanted to coordinate with the EDC, since it's the same board, that we should coordinate and do it together. So they'll be doing it later on today. So we'll be on the same track to have this in place for the board members. So board, the meetings, it's the same board, and it's relatively at the same time on the same day. So it just makes sense to do it with the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation. So
You have to do two separate public notices, one for the IDA, one for the EDC, and two separate public hearings.
Right.
One following right after the other.
And so the extraordinary circumstances, as was suggested in Exhibit C here, would be a disability, illness, caregiving responsibilities, or any other significant unexpected factor or event approved by the board chair which precludes a member's physical attendance at any meeting. So I think that pretty much covers all various circumstances and gives the agency and the chair discretion. So if anybody has any questions.
Board member who will be attending will probably send an email to say to Tony and Sarah and say, I cannot attend in person, I can attend a video conference for the following reasons. And then it'll be up to you, the chair, to approve that.
Is there any consideration to limit the number of video conferences that they can attend?
That would be in your discretion, Mr. Chair. And you can set a policy, the agency can set a policy. It's just your discretion.
Okay.
And just by the way, also, so this is a 2-year, so it expires June, the end of June 2024, so it's for 2 years. This option to do this remote, and then I guess the state will review it to see how it went, I guess, for everybody statewide, and decide then if they're going to continue with it or make it permanent. So.
Yeah, that's okay.
And through the course of that 2-year period, you'll bring to our attention
Our
if
computer's
there are any
down, so,
significant issues that arise with respect to any of the boards
so I have yours, I'm looking at it right now.
that you provide.
Cruise, right?
And this also doesn't take
Okay,
place, you still have to do,
Yep,
live
you're all
streaming
set.
to the extent practical,
Okay.
which
Today we can't because of the
everything is
computer
alright.
Yeah.
63
issues
Lake
that
you have
Drive.
extenuating
County has.
circumstances.
Plus, this room doesn't pick up a outside reception for a hotspot from the cell carrier.
Have a good day, bye-bye.
All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Being that there are no other questions, can we get a motion to present this to the full board as described by Tony and outlined in the email provided to us by next meeting? Okay. We have a motion by Chris Demians. To send it to the board. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a second by Sarah Lansdale. So this will go for the board then.
So I guess we'll just do the voting. So Greg Casamento, Chair. Sarah Lansdale, already said yes. Joshua Slaughter.
Yes.
Brian Bennett couldn't make it today, and then we have Chris Damiano.
Yes.
Okay, so it was approved unanimously to recommend the open meetings law remote video conferencing to the full board. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything else? We entertain a motion to adjourn the I'll make a motion to adjourn the committee meeting. Second, the seconds. Take a vote.
Greg Pessimento, Chair, Sarah Lansdale, Josh Slaughter, and Chris Damiano.
Yes.
So the meeting is adjourned at 12:27 PM. Thank you.